Megan Jones. I live in Virginia Beach with my husband and now three kids. My husband's a Navy SEAL, and so very active people, always been healthy, always been active. When I started working with you, had just had my third child, and again, have only had healthy pregnancies, physically fit, thriving, really only looking for optimal health. I've never struggled with real health issues until I gave birth to my third baby 6 months ago, and I started feeling really unwell. I was dizzy all the time. I could hardly walk down the hallway. I couldn't hold my baby walking around the house. I was so dizzy. I thought I was going to pass out all the time. Jittery, shaky, sensitive to light. I mean, I couldn't drive. I couldn't go for walks, couldn't exercise. Um, I really just completely did a 180. My health completely plummeted. Um, and I hadn't changed anything except I gave birth. And even though I'd given birth before a couple of times, I thought, I'm getting a little older. I'm 34 now. Maybe I'm just having a harder time. Maybe I need to sleep a little more. But then I started doing all of the things I knew I should be doing, resting, eating well, taking care of myself, and nothing got better. And it actually just kept getting worse. I'm getting palpitations. I'm having a rapid heart rate. My blood pressure would be high and then be super low. So bad that my mom, who lives with us, had to be home with me at all times. I couldn't have I had to have another adult here all the time because I was always afraid I was going to bottom out and faint. Um, and that was when I started working with you because I checked basic stuff like a CBC and my thyroid, and there were some tweaks to be made, but nothing made me feel better. And I just thought, yeah, I thought it was giving birth, but then like 4 months went by and nothing changed. I thought, this is not postpartum anymore. This is something bigger than that. So yeah, it turns out that I think I've been exposed to maybe various biotoxins, but particularly probably mold. I noticed, not again until now in retrospect, that a few of these symptoms I had in a very minor fashion over the course of the last couple of years, but as a singular symptom, they didn't seem like much. And then looking back at my labs, and when I was experiencing those symptoms, it happened to coincide with when we went on a beach vacation to stay in a beach home, which I commented to everyone smelled like water damage. I knew it smelled musty. I knew it smelled like there had been damage there. No one else smelled it. Fine. But then, as we have seen looking back at my labs, I had various, lab values that were quite out of range immediately coming back from these trips. And my husband also noticed in retrospect that I had been complaining of my heartbeat being particularly high, or feeling fatigued when I shouldn't have felt fatigued, or I had like a spot of eczema, which I never had eczema before, that was showing up. I got my first ear infection. I hadn't mentioned this to you before, but I got my first ear infection like a month and a half after coming back. Never had an ear infection in my whole life. Just started having eye floaters. All of these things that at the time I was only having one or two of these symptoms, and I thought, I'm just getting older, or, I'm tired today, or the sun's in my eyes, or, you write off these small symptoms and you choose to live with them because they become your baseline, and you don't really remember what it felt like to feel really good. So you think you feel really good and you don't. And it turns out it's actually coinciding with two different trips we've been on where I have been exposed to these water damaged homes. And then more recently, right before having my baby, we actually completely gutted our bathroom to renovate it, exposed the under part of our house, where we had to have some ductwork replaced that also had some damage. Again, I said, it smells weird in here. I'm not sleeping in here. No one believed me. But looking back, it seems to be that when I've been around this damage, I come away with some concerning symptoms, and that combined with giving birth had a very unfortunate effect on me and really exacerbated the entire experience.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes.
And I think the eye thing is so interesting. So we do a test called the VCS test, visual contrast study. L- Shows you, can you see black and white and black and gray, white and gray? What did you notice the first time you took that test? And then when we
Oh my
just,
goodness. Well, I thought I did great on it until it told me that I failed, and I failed miserably. There are all these varying levels of contrast that you're supposed to see, and I thought it was a trick. I thought this was a trick test because I didn't see anything. I saw a few, and then I saw nothing, 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 and it's like 45 slides, and I could have sworn 30 of them were nothing. So much so that I told my husband he needed to take it because I was like, this is, I think I'm on a fake site because it's working. I don't see anything, and my vision is fine. Um, but sure enough, I have now, after just undergoing very preliminary treatment, not even really starting our treatment plan, but just making a few small changes, weeks later, I've taken it and have come very close to passing. So turns out there are a lot of things to see there. I physically wasn't able to see them. But if you had asked me when I took that test how my vision is, if I'm confident in my vision or if I can see contrast, of course I would have said I'm totally fine. I've passed an eye exam. My vision is fine. It was actually very alarming to see those results and how terribly I was not able to see any of it. Well, I passed in one eye my test, which was huge because I hadn't just failed. I had basically not seen anything on that test, but I've also, all the issues I was having with circulation, like feeling like all the blood was draining from my head, not feeling stable walking around, a lot of palpitations, high heart rate, all of that stuff has either completely subsided or become so infrequent compared to what I was experiencing before that I hardly noticed it. I was having rapid heart rate all day, every day for months. Now it happens maybe twice a week. I have like a little period where I notice something. And I'm sure part of that's just, I'm still working on getting things out and healing, but I'm not having the palpitations anywhere near as much. I can walk around holding my baby. I actually ran around the yard with my kids for the first time last week. They wanted me to chase them, and that is the first time I have run in 6 months because I was so afraid I was going to faint. And I felt great. And it's like we've said before, you don't realize how bad you feel until just a few weeks of this. And there wasn't one aha moment where I woke up and I said, I feel great today. But then I got to go for a walk, and then I go for a little run. And then, I need to pick up one kid and pick up the other kid. And I'm finally able to do these things that before, I could barely carry my own body around the house. And now I'm taking care of my kids and cooking full meals and standing all day long and feeling totally safe doing so. So yeah, and that's after just 3 weeks. So I'm thrilled to keep going.